Hey everybody, I'm Chef Tom with atbbq.com, and this is Chipotle Tomato Soup. Today I want to put a spin on the classic tomato soup and spice it up literally with smoky chipotle peppers. Now, we're going to add some Southwest American, Mexican flavors to this soup today. In the form of Mexican chorizo, we're going to have some fire-roasted poblanos and tomatoes. And because no tomato soup is complete without a grilled cheese sandwich, we're going to be making grilled cheese sandwiches with melty quesadilla cheese stuffed inside bolillo rolls, crisp it up on the griddle, and then chop it up and serve it as croutons on top of the soup. So let's get started over at the grill. Today we're cooking on the Yoder Smokers YS640s pellet grill. We're currently running at 500 degrees, completely direct. Diffuser is removed. I'll show you the setup here in a second. We're gonna get started with our poblanos and our tomatoes, getting a little color on those. I wanna blacken the skin on the poblanos so that we can peel the skin off of here. The tomatoes we're just gonna get some char on for color and for flavor. And then we'll combine this 1 pound of tomatoes with our San Marzano canned tomatoes. Now over here we have our griddle set up so that once we're ready to, we can slide it over here and finish this off with some grilled cheese sandwiches. I'm gonna take my damper, I'm just gonna go ahead and push that in so it's sitting right in the middle and we kind of concentrate the heat right in this area. So while we're roasting off our tomatoes and our peppers, we're gonna do a little knife work, starting with the base of so many different soups, and that's mirepoix. We want about 4 cups of mirepoix, which works out to 2 cups of onion and a cup each of carrot and celery. The peppers are getting there, fairly blackened on all sides. We're getting that blister going. We just need a little bit more right there. Our tomatoes have got some color on them. They're starting to soften, so before these things fall apart on the grill, I'm gonna pull them off. So the peppers now, we want those to go into a bag or some sort of container so that they can steam, and those skins will steam right off the pepper. So we'll close that up and let them steam for the next 10 minutes or so. And then back in the grill, we've got our Dutch oven that's preheating. I'm gonna start browning off some chorizo here as soon as we get our knife work finished. Now beyond the mirepoix, we're gonna need a little garlic. Gonna crush and peel these, mince down about 2 tablespoons. Looking good. Now for the chipotle portion of our chipotle tomato soup, this is what we're using. These are not chipotles in adobo sauce, these are dried chipotles, so they're just dried smoked jalapenos. And how hot you want this, heat level wise, totally up to you. I'm gonna use 3 in here. This is gonna come out to about a medium heat, in my opinion. If you don't want that, just use a single one. You'll still get the smokiness and a little bit of heat. So obviously using a good quality canned tomato is a big part of your tomato soup. And I love these tomatoes. I mean, these are San Marzano tomatoes from Italy. Fantastic flavor. I make all my pizza sauces out of these, red sauces for pasta, and certainly great for tomato soup as well. But I don't want huge whole tomatoes in there, so I'm just crushing these up by hand so they will be ready to go when we are ready for them. Poblanos are ready to be processed, so we'll split these open and get rid of the seeds. Now we just got this tender, smoky flesh of the pepper in here. We'll get rid of our blackened skin. It peels off pretty easy now. I can be mad if a little bit of that sticks around. And then we'll just dice this up to be added to the soup later. So back at the grill now, we're gonna start by browning off some chorizo, largely just for the flavor base of what this offers, a little bit of spiciness. It's going to come back out of the soup and we'll serve it kind of as a garnish on top, the chorizo itself. But we can get some of this fat out of our Mexican chorizo to cook our veggies in, just to start us off on the right foot here flavor-wise. chorizo is browned up, getting crispy. We want it crispy like that, especially since we're going to be using it as a garnish on top of an otherwise fairly smooth soup. Soup is going to get blitzed down later. But we're going to leave some of these bits behind, some of the fond in the pan here, any fat that it leaves behind, which is not a lot, but we'll add to that. We'll throw down a couple tablespoons EVOO, and then we'll get our mirepoix in here. Start softening that up. And we'll go ahead and hit this with some seasoning while we're at it. We're using the Cattleman's Grill Roadhouse today. This is a steak and beef rub, but the flavors match up perfectly for something like this because you've got plenty of chipotle going on in here already. Also got some cumin, all stuff that works together nicely. A little bit of that salt in there. I'm gonna start pulling that moisture out, and then as the water comes out of the veggies here, I'll scrape up all of that fond right into the mirepoix. So let's just let these sweat down with the door closed for a little while. Mirepoix is looking softened up now, so we are going to throw in our garlic. We'll let this go for the next 30 to 60 seconds. We're ready to move on to the tomatoes and chipotles. Now obviously, these chipotles need to be rehydrated. That's going to happen while they cook down in the broth and the tomatoes. Just break them up to help that a little bit. But this is just like rehydrating dried chilies for a sauce recipe or a salsa, except they're going to rehydrate in the soup. So we'll go ahead and add all those crushed tomatoes now. And 1 quart of veggie stock. And the goal here now is essentially just to cook this until these peppers are tender. We've soaked up all these liquids and the flavors, and then we're going to hit this with the Vitamix in the blender to smooth it out. So I'm actually going to throw a lid on because that'll help to rehydrate those peppers. And we'll let it go. The soup's been cooking away for half an hour now. Our chipotles are looking like they're getting softened up. Yeah, they're holding some liquid now. So let's take this back over to the table so we can finish it off with our fire roasted elements. So we're gonna swap our setup now so that we can do our grilled cheese on the griddle over the fire. Clean that up just a little bit. I'm gonna turn the heat down too because we don't need it all the way up at 500 for the griddle. We'll come down to 400 for the toasting. So now we'll add our fire roasted peppers and tomatoes. These I'm just gonna break up by hand. Or you're getting ready to blitz this with the Vitamix. You can do this with an immersion blender if you have one, or just throw it in the regular blender. So we got some contrast here. We've got these tomatoes which are mostly raw, very fresh, bright, with the tomatoes from the can that have now been kind of caramelized as they cook down for the last half hour. So a little variation in flavors, which is kind of nice. We're also gonna throw in about a 1/4 cup of minced cilantro. I know some people can't do cilantro. You can leave this out if you like. There's not really anything you can just replace it with. And then the last thing before we blitz this here is a little sour cream. I'm gonna do a 1/4 cup of sour cream. I think we've got the texture that we're going for. Let's check on the flavor. Okay. So nice heat from the chipotle, a little bit of smokiness. Definitely getting that tang from the tomato, but the sour cream kind of smooths things out. Despite being sour itself, it adds a lot in the way of body, which I think is really important. You could also just use a little half and half of cream if you like, but I'm pretty happy with that. It really doesn't need any more salt. So let's do our grilled cheese. So the cheese we're using is just labeled as quesadilla cheese. Very melty, like very buttery. Gonna be fantastic for grilled cheese. So we'll get these loaded up. And then we'll take these over to the grill to toast them off. We get a little butter down on the griddle here. We're laying down the bolillo grilled cheese. We're gonna weigh it down with a weight so it's thin and crispy. It works out for the croutons that way. Starting to leak some cheese, which is a good thing. You're gonna get a cheese crust formed around the edge here. The bottom's looking nice and toasty. Let's give it a little bit more butter. Looks so good, smells so good. Got the look of that Cuban sandwich to it. All smashed and crusty like that. All right, let's finish off this side and go eat some soup. Oh, look at that skirt. That's looking beautiful. All right, let's get these things off of here. They're literally just going to cut this into little cubes to make our grilled cheese croutons. Well, let's get a bowl, load it up so we can get a taste of this goodness. On top, we're gonna put those croutons. Do another little drizzle of sour cream. A little bit of that chorizo. And some cilantro. There it is. Wow. So much flavor right off the bat. Brightness for sure. Got that bright tomato thing going on, but then the fresh cilantro on it, that really makes it pop. A little bit of creaminess from sour cream. This grilled cheese was taken to extreme crisp so that it can hold some of that crispiness even as it sits in this soup. And then the creamy cheese in the middle. I mean, this is just taking something classic that you know is good, putting a spin on it, and we could have gone a number of different directions, but I love, of course, these Mexican-inspired flavors. I'm a big fan anyway, and it works fantastic with tomato soup. Enjoy. Well, thank you guys so much for watching. Be sure to check out atbbq.com for all the products featured in today's video. If you enjoy the recipe, hit that subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, or there's anything you'd like to see me cook, let me know in the comment section down below, and let's be good to one another. For more recipes, tips, and techniques, head over to atbbq.com/thesauce. All things barbecue, where barbecue legends are made.